Before continuing with the shading phase, I want to talk a little about color theory and the palettes I use. If you don't have much experience as an artist, you might feel a bit lost when it comes to choosing what colors to use. The choice of your color palette can be quite personal, but there are some rules that can help you put together an attractive and coherent chromatic palette. My first recommendation, as I mentioned in the previous video, is not to use overly saturated colors. But how can we know if a color is too saturated or not? As we saw earlier, a simple rule is to choose colors from the left half of the selection square. If we analyze all the colors I used in the previous exercise, we will see that they are all in this region. Even the color of the eyes, which stands out quite a bit, is actually an unsaturated color. The fact that the bright color stands out so much and seems more saturated than it really is precisely because the rest of the colors are not very saturated. The conclusion is that if you want a color to stand out, instead of increasing its saturation, try desaturating the rest. My second recommendation is to try to use harmonious colors, especially at the beginning. What are harmonious colors? Simply put, harmonious colors are similar colors. A bit more precisely, harmonious colors are colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. Going back to our previous example, the three shades of brown are very close to each other. Using harmonious colors usually yields better results than combining very different colors unless we use complementary colors. Complementary colors are the exact opposite. Distant colors, colors that are at the opposite end of the color wheel. Look at the position of the bluish tones I have used for this character on the color wheel. See, just at the opposite end. This is not a coincidence. In fact, it is a basic rule of creating color palettes. Complementary colors, that is, opposites, usually work quite well, although the previous rule about saturation should still prevail. If the opposite tones are too saturated, the contrast will be too strong and not attractive to the viewer's eye. My advice is that if you're a beginner, try starting by applying these two simple rules. The majority of your character, let's say between 60% and 75%, should be painted with harmonious and unsaturated colors. The rest of the character should be painted with complementary colors. At most, include one additional color for accents. Of course, it is perfectly possible to create attractive color palettes without following these rules, but practicing with limited and controlled palettes will help you develop a sense of color that you can push to the limit later on when you have more practice. Here are some characters that more or less adhere to these three rules, which can serve as inspiration for creating your first color palettes. As you can see, the colors of all these characters are centered on a small group of harmonious colors combined with complementary colors in some specific areas, and in general, an additional color, a bit more strident, which serves as an accent to create a striking effect. In any case, you should take these rules as general guidelines that can help you avoid some basic mistakes at the beginning, but feel free to explore the different possibilities of the color scale on your own. As a practice, also try to mentally analyze each character you see from now on. Surely you will see that the rule and the ratio between harmonious complementary colors and accents are quite frequently followed. Over time, you will refine your sense of color and will be able to create your own color palettes. When this happens, you'll see that it's actually not necessary to use many different colors. In my case, I have a small color palette with hues that I frequently use, and except on rare occasions, I almost always use the same colors, over and over again. Next, we're going to learn how to create our own color palette in Clip Studio. This will allow us to save the colors we use the most so that we can access them precisely and immediately. The first thing we need to do is make sure that this panel down here on the left is visible. The panel is called Color Set. If it's not visible in your interface, you can find it under the Window menu Color Set. As always, Remember that you can adjust the position and size of this panel by clicking and dragging. Once you have located the panel, click on the small button with 3 horizontal lines and select Edit Color Sets. Then, choose the option Create New Set and give a name to this new palette. Press OK and your palette, currently empty, will appear in the Color Set panel. To add colors to your palette, you need to select any color you want to add through the selection panel at the bottom left or simply using the eyedropper. When you have selected the color you want to save, choose any empty square in the Color Set panel and press the keys Alt-click. The color will be registered in that square and you will be able to retrieve it whenever you want simply by clicking on it. If you hold down the Control key, you can click and drag the mouse to change the position of the color in your color palette. This way, you can organize the colors in whatever way suits you best. So, that's all you need to know. Please, take some time to make sure you are applying the rules we mentioned to your character. And once you're happy with the colors you're using, practice creating a new palette for your colors and saving it under a new name so you can recover it anytime and you can keep working on it, expanding it or improving throughout the rest course. See you in the next lesson.